I'm tired as I'm rolling into work. It's about 6:45 in the morning on a Saturday, and I'm beat. I'm not used to getting up this early, but this is a good shift to have because even though I have to get here at 7 o'clock, I'm able to leave at 3 o'clock. This is a really good shift. And before work starts, me and a couple other cooks were chatting it up with the kitchen manager, Bobby. Bobby tells us that he was just at a funeral. He had a relative recently pass away. But he's happy to announce that as a result, he got $100,000. $100,000 as an inheritance. Now, I can't speak for all the other cooks, but I certainly felt immediately jealous, and my mind started wandering. I thought to myself, man, I make $20,000 a year. I could not work for 5 years if I had $100,000. How cool would that be? Now think about that. What did I just do? I just said I would be a bum for half a decade because I could make the same amount of money working, or I could use this big windfall. Now, the honest truth is I probably would spend more than that $20,000 a year. And what am I going to do in 5 years? Get another job? That's not really that great. At the time, I was 18 years old. So I'm still going to be in my early 20s without anything to do, without any money, without any marketable skills. I would have wasted that money. And future me would have been really, really dinked. Had nothing to do, nothing to show for it. So clearly this is just me. Clearly this is a result of my upbringing and my lack of knowledge, my lack of education, and I don't know how to handle money. This is just me. Or is it? Because Bobby himself said, I got this money just a couple of weeks ago and I've already spent a fifth of it. I've already spent $20,000 on a new car. I've already got grand plans to travel around. And I'm already going to get into a new apartment, maybe even buy a house. So it's not just me. He wants to use all of this money as well. So what's going on? Why is it that we are so bad at taking a big influx of money and making it last? We are horrible on it. Find out why right after this. Greetings, it's Derek Hagan, financial therapist, here with another Money Health presentation. Thanks for joining me. What is a financial windfall? A financial windfall is a big influx of money. And we can't really think about dollars because that's going to be different for everybody. For some people, $20,000 is a big influx of money. For some people, like Bobby, it's $100,000. For some people, that's $1 million, and for some people, it's more than that. So it's not really a dollar amount. The thing that we want to ask ourselves is, will it change our life? So, are we used to it? So if we got $20,000, is that going to change our life? Are we used to that? Could we handle $20,000? If we can, that's not really a financial windfall. That's just like getting some money. Government sends out a check for $1,200. And for somebody like me, that's just some money. For other people, that's a big chunk of money. $100,000. If I'm not used to having 6 figures, that's going to change my life. That's going to be a different level. For some people, that's $1 million. The idea is, am I used to it, or will it change my life? And that's the ticket. That's the driver. So if you get this large sum of money, and it's going to change your life, what do we do about that? Most of us waste it. Most of us squander it. This is consistent all over the place. Most people who get a windfall, I think it's like 70%, they're back to the same place they started. You probably heard about lottery winners. Some of them die. Some of them commit suicide because most financial windfalls land into the hands of somebody who's not prepared for it. Emotionally, they're not ready. They don't know how. And this is everybody. This is not, I'm not picking on any single person or any single group of people. Most of us who get a windfall will have gotten rid of it. And that's awfully sad because what that literally means is that you could have been set up. You could set up your future self. Your life could be set up. But we have this proverbial hole in our pocket and the money's gone. That's it. We have no idea why we do it. We don't know that we're doing it. This is completely subconscious. And the reason for this is this idea of money scripts. Money scripts are those subconscious beliefs that we have that float underneath conscious awareness. We learn these in childhood. And these are stories that we tell ourselves about money. And all of our financial behaviors rest on top of these money scripts that we have. And there's a couple of different categories of money script. Some money scripts fall under the anti-money category. So people who have beliefs like this will think that money is bad, or rich people are bad, or I don't deserve money, or things would be better if I didn't have money, there's virtue in living with less. These are the kinds of stories that people tell themselves. And if you have this kind of belief, remember, we're not doing this intentionally. It floats underneath conscious awareness. But if you have this kind of belief, it's going to be difficult for you to manage that money going forward, because you think you have, in your core, you think that money is bad. Money makes you a bad person. Money makes you greedy. Money will corrupt you. And so you'll find ways, and they'll be justified ways. You'll find ways to get rid of that money. It'll be charity. It'll help people out. It'll be helping others. It will be setting yourself up or your family up. It will seem like you're using this money for good, but you're actually subconsciously getting rid of it because you're uncomfortable with it. Other people have beliefs that money will buy happiness. And if you believe that money buys happiness and you just got a big truckload of it, you got a big influx of money, well, that's great. Now I can start buying things. I'm not used to having money, and now I've got this seemingly endless supply of money. And so I just start buying things because it's going to make me happy. Bobby bought that truck. He spent a fifth of his influx on a truck. Right? We just start buying things. We're going to buy new cars. We're going to upgrade our house. We're going to get new gym memberships. We're going to buy whatever we think is going to make us happy. And that money's going to shrink. And this is a double-edged sword, because not only are we going to find out that money didn't make us happy, but we certainly made future us sad, because we took all that money that could have set up future us and we squandered it. It's gone. And there's a third type of belief that we can use this money to kind of show people what we have, kind of the Joneses type of thing. And so we want to upgrade that house because we want to be the person that people look up to. We want to buy that fancy car because we want people to look at us and notice us. And that's why we're going to put a stereo system in, so they have to hear us. It's a status-seeking reasons. And if you do that, that doesn't bring happiness either. And now you're using all this money in the present, and future you doesn't get any of it. So what can you do about that? What I want you to do is think about, what do you believe about money? What stories do you tell yourself about money? Right now, you're floating around with almost no experience, without any awareness. You've never explored your beliefs. You've never explored your behaviors. Think about what would happen if a pile of money was dropped in your lap tomorrow. And figure out whatever that dollar amount is for you. $1 million, $100,000. If you got $500,000 tomorrow, would that change your life? If so, what would you do with it? How would you handle it? And if your mind automatically went to all the things that you would buy, why? What did you learn from your parents about money growing up? How was money communicated about in your family of origin? How was money used? Who handled the decisions? What stories were there when you were growing up? Because now you're going to start building up that awareness. And if you can learn a little bit more about why you behave the way you behave, you're going to have a lot more awareness. And with that awareness comes better financial decisions. Just awareness helps. 80% of the time, just knowing that you're doing it is going to help. Because what we want to do is balance present and future self. Now, there's a common belief, you might have heard YOLO, or you only live once. This is absolutely true. I promote living intentionally. Living intentionally and you only live once are kind of the same thing. We only have a short amount of time here on earth. We should design a life on purpose that fits with what's important to us. Now, what's the problem here? YOLO sometimes gets confused as meaning live like you're dying. Right? So they say, I'm going to spend all of my money now because what if I die tomorrow? Now they really dinked over the future version of themselves. Now, I'm not saying people tend to think dualistically. They think in A or B terms. So I want to squash that right now. I'm not saying present us needs to suffer so that future you can be well off. That's the exact opposite. Right? The squandering windfall types are, I'm going to be well off in the present because future you, so that future you is going to be poor. And they'll usually tell themselves a story about, well, I know a guy whose uncle knew a guy who died right after retirement, so he never got to enjoy life. And these are going to be true stories. But the likelihood of you dying, of course it's possible, and that should be part of your intentional living. But I'm not saying suffer in the present so future you can be well off. And I'm certainly not saying dink over future you so that you can be well off, as what happens so often. Find a balance. You can live intentionally, and you can find this balance. Because at the end of the day, you want both. You want every version of you that you're going to become, you want to take care of. You want to focus on that intersection. Right? So you only live once is true. Live intentionally, but be mindful that you're going to turn into a different person. And do you want to look back on you today and be angry at yourself? Or do you want to look back on your life and say, I'm happy that I did it? If you find yourself with a windfall and don't think you can handle it, reach out to people for help, increase your awareness, try to balance the needs of both future you and current you, and that's good money health.